stopped answering her.
And you said that Cassie, she would disrespect Diddy when it came to his penis size, right?
Not directly, but inadvertently, yes. Like she would laugh at him after she and I had sex. She might smirk at him. Let's say she and I had an encounter and he tried to get on top of her after that. You know, the comparison of the two inside of her was probably noticeably different. So a few times she would catch him smirking, laughing, stuff like that. And he asked her like, yo, what's so funny? And let's say she didn't give him the right answer. He'll kick her, he'll push her. That's really where the domestic violence came from.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Psychology Eats. So what's eating you? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope this video finds you in great mental health. I hope everything is going well for you, and life is giving you everything that you deserve. Oh, y'all. This story, it laid on my heart. It laid on my heart. And just a quick recap, because I know most of you who clicked this video, you are very familiar with Sean Combs, stage name P. Diddy and or Puffy. And so we all watch, let me say this. I'm going to go back 30 years. 30 years up until the date of arrest, we had heard from Wendy Williams since she started doing gossip on her Philadelphia radio show and her New York radio show. She was basically telling us, here and there, a little bit more about Puffy and some of his ways. And Puffy, I'm going to call him Puffy or Diddy, he hated her. They really hated each other for many, 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 many years. And she really was giving us a lot of little bit of tea here, little bit of tea there. Basically, we knew he was a little bit off. Something wasn't right, but nobody was brave enough at that time to say, this is what it is. Although I believe Wendy knew, because at that time, I believe women were telling her and the prostitutes were telling her. So she knew. But what I never heard up until the trial was that Puffy has what they call in science, a micro penis. And so I'm probably going to throw the clip in when one of the prostitutes was talking about, a male prostitute was describing the size and the length of Puffy's private area. And Cassie, if you know Cassie, was his 10-year girlfriend. She was also involved in all of the sex freak-offs and all of the things. And you guys probably know about all of that. But during the trial, during which, as I recall, Cassie was talking about, she was describing some of the incidences that happened with the prostitutes and her and Diddy involved in threesomes. And then she giggled and laughed in the man's face and described his penis as the size of a Tootsie Roll. Not the long one, but the little one. And so what the prostitutes also said and confirmed is that his penis is very small, like the size of a toddler's, a male toddler, but he's a grown man. And it is a medical condition. Now, with all the money that Puffy has, I would think he would, if he tried it, or I don't know. But there are medical things that he could have done to grow it. It wasn't going to be 10 inches. But if it's 3, they could probably get it to 4 or even 5. So here's the question that brings and ties us back to psychology. I believe that Puffy Diddy is a sexual deviant. That his thought process about sex is against the norm. It is against the norm. And then whatever what the norm is, I know that can look different for a lot of people. What makes him a sexual deviant is that his partners are not always willing partners, or they are coerced, manipulated into doing things sexually that they otherwise would not do if it wasn't for this manipulator, Puffy Diddy, manipulating them into these situations. Now, a lot of people don't agree with that. They said these people were willing participants, and many of them were. They were. But the question is, do you think that because he has really through adolescence is when you first become sexualized in a healthy way, a teenager begins to think about, a little bit of humping here and there. That's normal sexual development. If during that period he noticed or found out or was like you're not the size of everybody else, you're much smaller, did that change or damage his self-image, his self-worth, and begin to make him have these thoughts that are thoughts about sexuality that we now know are inappropriate, dangerous, and against the law, some of it. So did it have anything to do with this alleged micro penis? I'm not gonna say that it is the size of the penis that caused him to be a sexual deviant. I think a lot of things played a role in that. I think, in my opinion, maybe being exposed to sexuality too young and not really understanding what he was seeing, self-esteem, feeling like less than a man, which is why he brought in other men, which is kind of weird and odd. And he was a voyeur. He liked to watch. So I think, yes, I believe that penis size did add to it, but it wasn't because of the penis size that he is a sexual deviant. And moving forward, when he is released, is he safe to be in the community? Because if you've watched any of my videos regarding sexual deviants, child molesters, predators, I don't think that they can be treated. I don't. I think that the best way to keep the community safe is to keep them locked up. Now, it's variations to that because, look, it's variations, right? It depends on what you did. It depends on, it depends on a lot. But for the most part, when I look at a deviant who has hurt as many people as he did, is he going to be safe to be in the community? Because at this point, his mind is already set up in the way that it is set up when it comes to sexual deviance. If we look at everyone on the Epstein files who were engaged in having graping, because it wasn't having sex, it was graping young pre-adolescents and adolescent girls, they are sexual deviants. And do I think they're safe in the community? No. Do I think that Diddy is going to be safe in the community with the way he's wired? Maybe not. Maybe not. But the law is the law, and justice has been served. He will get out. He will go back out into the world, and we will just, have to see. I think any grown adult woman over the age of 25 with a fully developed brain, and they decide to get into a relationship with Sean Puffy P. Diddy Combs, knowing everything that you know about him, then it is what it is, and it will be what it will be. But that's it. Y'all can comment down below. That's it for this installment. Thank you for stopping by, and see you on the next video. Bye.